Hey, everybody. I'm Deon. Welcome back to Wisdom Wednesdays. So, today we're going to be continuing our conversation on becoming a good friend to yourself. And we're going to talk more specifically on how to overcome the three biggest enemies to your self esteem. You need a healthy self esteem in order to be a good friend to yourself and others. Let's get into it. Let's start with my favorite working definition of self-esteem. Self-esteem is a healthy appreciation, heavy on the word appreciation, for your innate qualities, your strengths, your abilities, and your achievements.
Let's count down the three biggest enemies to your self esteem.
Coming in at number 3, treating a critic like an accountability partner. Listen, we all need people in our lives who can tell us hard truths, who can challenge us to grow. But one of the worst things you can do for your self-esteem is to hand a mic or a bullhorn to someone who has a tone of judgment, who is dismissive, and who is shaming. Someone who will reduce you down to the very thing that they don't like about you. So let me give you an example of how a highly critical person might attack your personhood, your character, and your self-esteem instead of address the behavior. They may say things like, "You're so lazy," instead of just saying, "I could use some help with the dishes." They may say, "You're a horrible friend," instead of saying, "You know what? It hurt when you didn't call me on my birthday." One addresses your identity, the other addresses your behavior. Someone who is dedicated to your growth and holding you accountable will let you know the impact of your behavior. They will let you know what the behavior is, how they are experiencing you, but they don't deduce you down to the behavior that they don't like. So now what? You're realizing that you've allowed someone who's highly critical to speak in your life. What do you do now? Number 1, refuse to take it personally. Usually when someone has a pattern of being critical, it's because of their own insecurities. Number 2, make leveling or boundary setting statements. So a leveling statement is, that statement seemed pretty judgmental. Is that what you meant? Another way of saying it, if you're setting a boundary, is saying, "I don't do well with harsh criticism. Can you say that again in a more respectful way?" Number 3, set some time boundaries on it. You do not owe people access. You do not owe them time. Limit the amount of time, limit your engagement with people who are highly critical. Your self-esteem depends on it. So the second biggest enemy to your self-esteem would be your own harsh inner critic. The part of you that hyper focuses in on your failures, your flaws, your perceived flaws, the part of you that wants to reduce yourself down to your worst moments. And some of us like to even brag about being our own worst critic. The call is coming from inside the house, and it's not a flex. My hope is that you would show yourself some compassion. And how do you do that? Because if I'm being honest with you, you're not going to get rid of your inner critic overnight. Some of you, your inner critic has been talking to you most of your life, and that voice is not going away instantly. So here's what I tell my clients: make it seem back up in the group. If you can't get it to stop talking altogether, don't give it the mic. Make it seem back up. Make it seem back up to self-compassion. Make it seem back up to hope. Make it seem back up to self-appreciation. Make it a point to celebrate your wins. Take time to acknowledge your successes. You will have failures. That's a part of life. That's a part of success. So take time to acknowledge it. Take time to affirm the things that you appreciate about yourself and do it in a real external way, whether it's writing it down, whether it's speaking it out loud, whether it's giving yourself a high five, whether it's giving yourself I like to do a little shoulder roll. That's my way of telling myself, girl, you did that, okay? But make sure you celebrate the parts of yourself that you appreciate. And coming in at number 1 for the biggest enemy to your self-esteem, drum roll please, comparison. Listen, as a therapist, when somebody comes in and they have low self-esteem, I can guarantee you that I am going to find a pattern of them comparing their efforts to somebody else's highlight reels. There's a quote that says that comparison is the biggest act of violence against yourself, and I agree with it. It causes you to have contempt for your own efforts, strengths, and abilities. And when you do that, you're going to breed insecurity. There's no way that you come out with your sense of self intact if you have taken your progress, you've taken your eyes off of your own progress and started measuring yourself by something external. One of my favorite cautionary tales on comparison comes from runner Ben Payne. He was feet away from winning a 10K marathon, and he started celebrating before he crossed the line, and needless to say, he ended up coming in second. And the real reason I think he came in second is because he was focused in on finishing first instead of finishing well. One was external validation, the other one was internal validation. If you focus in on finishing well, it will make you run all the way through the line. It will make you ask yourself, am I doing better today than I was doing yesterday? Am I improving? Am I learning more? Am I growing? Am I getting better at this thing? It will make you ask those kind of questions instead of, am I going to beat this other person? So focal points matter. The other thing is, if you are so focused in on other people, you're not going to be able to appreciate what they bring to the table. You will turn them into competition. And instead of competing with them, you could be asking yourself, what can I learn from them? How can I be inspired by this person? How can I be more collaborative with this person? So again, there are some healthy alternatives to comparison. And if you use these healthy alternatives, you're going to protect your self-esteem. Now, I know we might have put these things in some different orders, or maybe you have an enemy to self-esteem that I didn't list. So go ahead, drop a comment down in the bottom. Tell me what order you would put them in, or what advice you would add to this. Go ahead and make a comment down in the bottom. Share this with somebody. Share it with someone if you thought it was helpful, and have a conversation. Go have coffee with them and talk about it. Talk about repairing your self-esteem. Do all the things. Hit the notification button so we can continue these conversations, and subscribe. All right. Bye, y'all.